Hello there, welcome to another Q&A with myself. I'm Clément and I'm your host. In today's Q&A, the question is, why did they stop responding? This is about online dating. In today's world of online dating and social media, conversations have never been easier to start, and they've never been easier to end abruptly at times, without a hint as to why. So obviously you can be left feeling confused, dazed, seeking closure, feeling inadequate, and at times depressive as well. I've been there before, I'm sure you've been there before, or maybe you're there right now. So here are some tips that I want to share with you on how you can manage and navigate online dating and social media romance. This is a totally different thing to what I experienced when I was growing up, and I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this who feel the same way. So first, keep your expectations lower than you want. You want to have your expectations up here, but you should be keeping them down here. The reason is we don't want to build up this idea of another person before we actually get to meet them, before we actually get to spend some real physical time with them, because things just might go south. In fact, before online dating and social media, we had to get to know someone physically, right? So we would literally have to go and spend time with them, go on an actual date, go to a bar, a club, or wherever. And it was very easy to figure it out. You know, am I going to invest my time in this, or am I just going to move on? It was easier. Now, you can lie, you can be someone completely different online, and then when you meet up offline, sometimes it's a big shock. So keep your expectations low. Don't put your emotions unnecessarily on the table, because they can be smashed, right? The more you build up that expectation, and the more it's going to tumble down if things don't work out. Next, be your real self, not your needy self. Your needy self is this version of you that kind of creeps out in the dark, and it's this untrue version of yourself that's going to embarrass you. It's going to say the wrong things. It's going to present you in the wrong light. That needy self is what you want to avoid. Don't say things, don't act in a certain way that are not in line with who you really are as a person. Try to relax, try to just act normal and observe. And that's the trick. Don't do things that you wouldn't normally do, because that's a slippery slope, and you're going to start finding that it's not adding up. So avoid that. Remember who you are and that you are enough. Now, I said this to someone recently who posted a very similar question, which is where I got the inspiration for this one, in Facebook. And they basically were asking, what am I going to do? He literally just stopped speaking with me. We were doing really well, and I didn't see it coming, and we were talking every day, and I've called him like 10 times and he hasn't responded. And I was like, calm down, breathe, just take a breath, take a moment, meditate, relax, clear your mind, and remember who you are. Remember that what you were trying to do when you started this. Look at where you are now. You're so far away from who you actually really are as a person. Your needy self came out, what I mentioned before. Remember that without this person, you're still you. So there's no point in getting all rustled up and emotional about something that never even happened in the first place, okay? The next point is, remember that there's always someone else, always. It's so difficult to remember this in the moment, but I guarantee you there's always someone else waiting to be found, to be seen, to find you. Someone wants to be with you. Lots of people, actually. You know, there's tens or hundreds of thousands of people that you could potentially meet and date and get to know and have a relationship and get married and have kids with. Remember that there's always someone else. Now, that's not to say, you know, you shouldn't put yourself into building this rapport with someone and actually getting to know someone because there's always someone else. What I mean is, if it doesn't work out, yes, it's going to feel bad for a while, but try to remember that that will pass. That's not going to last forever. There's always someone else out there. Now, give them the benefit of the doubt. If someone stops talking with you all of a sudden, give them the benefit of the doubt that there's something that's happened on their side that you're not aware of. You don't know that maybe their family member was hospitalized. You don't know that they potentially had a car crash, or you don't know that something happened that you are not aware of, and it's affected them to the point where they can't come online, they can't talk to you. Maybe they've just got tons of work to do. Maybe they have decided they need to take a break and they were overwhelmed with everything and they didn't let you know. It's something you couldn't know until they get back to you. So give them the benefit of the doubt and say that that's the first reason why they've stopped talking to you. Okay, it'll make you feel more relaxed. And it could be real. It could actually be the truth. Cool off for a while. So take some time. Don't overwhelm them with messages. Don't barrage them with calls or texts, or it really doesn't go down very well. People don't like to receive that. I've been on the receiving end and I've been on the calling end. I have done both sides. I can see the error in my ways now that I look back, because it didn't work and it's never worked. I don't actually think that's ever worked. So that's a good point. The other thing is, imagine someone did it to you. Imagine someone called you 20 times. How would you feel? Would you want to talk to them? No, because when you get on the phone with them, you know it's going to be like almost like a naggy person, almost like a needy person. No one wants to be involved with a needy person because they don't want to be the source of all their joy. That's unreasonable. Aside from someone just abruptly cutting off with you, here's some extra tips for managing conversations in a better way moving forward on social and online dating. So first one is, don't just text, send photos, voice notes, videos, and offer to have a call, whether it's a voice call or a video call, because messages alone are really just a small fraction of the communication potential that we need to be able to build a relationship with someone. We need to be able to see them. We need to be able to hear them. We need to be able to read their body language, right? And there's more too. I mean, we should be able to smell them, taste them, all of those sensory experiences. Some come before others, right? With dogs, I'm not so sure, but with humans, yes. And so we want to make sure that we're not just using text. We're doing video, audio, and in-person meeting. Ask them to meet up, but only when it feels right. Don't rush it, and don't leave it too late. You'll know when it's right because you'll have talked about everything. You'll have made a rapport with that person, and you'll feel like, what's the next step? And that's when you should ask if you want to meet. So don't just use text, and don't keep it going on for too long without moving it to the next level. Be empathic. Try to understand what the other person is thinking and feeling when they're talking to you. And when you do that, you get a good feel for what their interests are as a person, and you can gravitate the conversation towards their interests. It's not always going to be possible, but it helps if you can just stop worrying about how you are perceived by them. Like maybe you're very conscious of your appearance or what you're saying, or whether they like you. Instead, feel what they're trying to tell you. Try to get a good, have empathy, and it will work out for you. I think that that's something that's very underrated, okay? Keep the conversation fresh and creative. Don't just ask boring questions and talk about superficial things like other people or the weather. It's boring. No one wants to talk about that stuff. But sometimes you can't just dive right into the more interesting questions because it feels a little awkward and disjointed. Sometimes you can. It depends who you're talking to. You won't want to hang around with those dull, boring conversation starters for too long. Otherwise, the other person's going to think, wow, this person's pretty boring. Ask them questions about them, but you can talk about you if you don't do it too often. No one wants to speak to someone who's always talking about themselves. It's kind of, okay, we've been talking about me for the last couple of days. I think we should talk about something in your side. I'm interested there. They should be interested in you. If they're not interested in you, that's a big red flag. I would reconsider whether or not you want to continue talking to them. But normal people want to hear about you. They're interested in you as well. So don't just keep asking them questions, and don't just keep talking about yourself. Keep it even. Never leave a conversation with a dead stop. That means if they ask you a question and you answer them, never just walk away having answered their question. Otherwise, the other person's going to feel like, all right, well, what's in this for me? I'm the one who's doing all the work. I'm the one who's always trying to find out what this other person thinks and feels and wants. Why don't I ever get a question? Never leave it as a dead stop. Always either ask a question or leave maybe like a controversial statement that is designed to provoke a reaction, or a flirtatious comment that also is designed to provoke a reaction, but never leave it like I've answered your question, that's it, I'm off. Even if you don't mean that you're sick of the conversation, that's what they're gonna feel. They're gonna feel like you're sick of the conversation. Don't play mind games and don't manipulate people. It never ends well for either person. There are tricks, right? There's a whole industry that teaches people about this. There are tricks to manipulate people into giving them what they want. It's called the pickup artistry, right? Industry, and it's not good. When you manipulate people, you're not actually really building a proper relationship. You're building a lie. And the lie is that this person is most likely feeling inadequate. This person is most likely feeling insecure. That's the only way you can manipulate someone, if they're insecure. And so these are very damaging techniques. Don't use them. If someone's insecure and they're easily manipulated, and you know how to manipulate people, just know that if you go ahead and do that, you're wasting their time and you're wasting your time, because you have a problem and they have a problem. Your problem is you're manipulating people. You need to fix that. Their problem is that they're easily manipulated, and that's a problem too. They need to fix that. So rather than get what you want from this person and waste their time, probably waste yours too, right? Just leave it, move on. And don't lie. Don't lie. Lying is bad. You shouldn't be lying to someone who you could potentially be spending the rest of your life with. It's only going to lead to further problems down the line. Don't lie about yourself either, because they're going to find out eventually. You know, you might want to make yourself seem better than you are, make yourself look better than you are. Use filters on your face, or well, this camera makes me look a lot better than I actually do in real life, so it's kind of ironic when I'm saying that. But look, don't lie about yourself, because one day they're going to find out. And that's setting the wrong expectations for someone. Don't set their expectations high either. Why would you want to do that if you don't want to set your own expectations high? So be your own biggest supporter and your own biggest cheerleader, and make sure that you follow some of this advice, because it is good advice. It's worked for me and it's worked for other people, and you can only get the best results from it, because even if it doesn't work out with the person you're talking to, at least you know you're being honest, you're being genuine, you're asking them about themselves, you're keeping things creative, and you're trying to build a proper, organic, real connection with someone. Not something that's fake, not something that's been, fabricated, but something real that might lead to a real relationship and lasting fulfillment and joy. All right, so I hope that helps. I'm happy that you're here. Thank you so much. Come back for the next one. I'm going to keep doing these every week. There's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 every week. And let me know if you need any questions answered. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.